Before we started working on our coursework, none of us had any experience with filming and editing. We experienced quite a steep learning curve when we were creating our preliminary task. We all feel that we have progressed a lot and learnt loads, as our final thriller opening looks so much better compared to our preliminary task. We learnt lots about different lighting techniques, such as low and high key lighting, during our research and planning. In a preliminary task, we didn't take into account what the lighting would look like, and how lighting can be used to portray characters differently. With all the research that we've done into lighting, we learnt how important it was and how it can be used to create suspense. Before we filmed our thriller opening, we spent some time experimenting with different lighting techniques so we could find out what would work best and how we can use it to create the right atmosphere. We also learnt how we could improve the appropriateness of the footage by using colour correction. We didn't know how to use colour correction properly when we were creating our preliminary task. Colour correction made a massive difference to our final thriller opening and made it look a lot more professional and more like a conventional thriller. We learnt lots about the colour correction tools that are built into Premiere Pro. We used it to change the warmth, saturation, contrast and more to make our footage more suitable for the thriller genre. In our preliminary task, we included footage of everything that happened and didn't leave anything out. While we were researching and planning for our thriller opening, we discovered that we could leave out certain parts and it would still make sense. For example, when Megan is captured in the barn. We were able to leave this out as the audience are able to work it out for themselves. We learnt how important music was for a thriller opening from the research that we'd done. We found out how music can change the atmosphere of the film completely. For our preliminary task, we chose one of the songs that we already had available and didn't put much thought into what song we chose. For our final thriller opening, we spent time researching the different types of music we could use and tested the tracks that we found against our footage until we found the most suitable one. We discovered how much of an impact the setting can make to the film. For our preliminary task, we just filmed it around the school. For our final film, we'd done research into different settings and discussed all the different settings that we could potentially use before deciding to film it at Chloe's farm. I feel the research that we've done into thriller settings helped us as we were able to choose a setting that was suitable. It made a really big difference to our film. If we were to film our main task in the school, I don't feel it would be as thrilling as it doesn't have the same type of atmosphere as a secluded farm. In our preliminary task, we didn't spend any time developing the characters, and it was unclear who the protagonist and the antagonist was. In our final thriller opening, we spent time discussing what sort of characters we could have and who would be best to play them. The clothing in our preliminary task was also basic, as the actors were just in their ordinary clothes that they wore to sixth form that day. We learnt how important it is to have a clear storyline that is easy to follow so it doesn't confuse the audience. Our preliminary task didn't have much of a storyline and it was unclear what was happening, unlike in our final thriller opening. It is clear that our preliminary task was improvised and recorded on the spot. Before we created our main task, we discussed lots of different storylines that we could potentially use before narrowing it down.